Apache Log4j is a Java-based logging utility. It was originally written by Ceki Gülcü LCA and is now a project of the Apache Software Foundation. Log4j is one of several Java logging frameworks. Gülcü LCA has since started the SLF4J and Logback projects, with the intention of offering a successor to Log4j. The Log4j team has created a successor to Log4j with version number 2.0. Log4j 2.0 was developed with a focus on the problems of Log4j 1.2, 1.3, Java util logging and logback, and addresses issues which appeared in those frameworks. In addition, Log4j 2.0 offers a plugin architecture which makes it more extensible than its predecessor. Log4j 2.0 is not backwards compatible with 1x versions, although an adapter is available. Log4j 1 log level. The following table defines the log levels and messages in Log4j, in decreasing order of severity. The left column lists the log level designation in Log4j and the right column provides a brief description of each log level. Configuration of Log4j 1.2. There are three ways to configure Log4j, with a properties file, with an XML file and 3 Java code. Within either you can define 3 main components, loggers, appenders and layouts. Configuring logging via a file has the advantage of turning logging on or off without modifying the application that uses Log4j. The application can be allowed to run with logging off until there's a problem, for example, and then logging can be turned back on simply by modifying the configuration file. Loggers are logical log file names. They are the names that are known to the Java application. Each logger is independently configurable as to what level of logging it currently logs. In early versions of Log4j, these were called category and priority, but now they're called logger and level, respectively. The actual outputs are done by appenders. There are numerous appenders available, with descriptive names, such as file appender, console appender, socket appender, syslog appender, and event log appender and even smtp appender. Multiple appenders can be attached to any logger, so it's possible to log the same information to multiple outputs. For example, to a file locally and to a socket listener on another computer. Appenders use layouts to format log entries. A popular way to format one line at a time log files is pattern layout, which uses a pattern string, much like the C/C++ function printf. There are also HTML, layout and XML layout formatters for use when HTML or XML formats are more convenient, respectively. To debug a misbehaving configuration, use the Java VM property Log4j debug, which will output to standard out. To find out where a Log4j properties was loaded from, inspect get class get resource /log4j properties or get class get resource /log4j XML. There is also an implicit unconfigured configuration of Log4j, that of a Log4j instrumented Java application which lacks any Log4j configuration. This prints to stdout a warning that the program is unconfigured, and the URL to the Log4j website where details on the warning and configuration may be found. As well as printing this warning, an unconfigured Log4j application does not print messages at info, debug or trace levels and possibly not higher level messages. Example for Log4j 1.2 equals TTCC. TTCC is a message format used by Log4j. TTCC is an acronym for Time Thread Category Component. It uses the following pattern: %R, %T, %-5p, %C, %x, %m. Where, example output, 467, main info org Apache Log4j example sort, exiting main method. Ports, Log4c, a port for C. Log4c is a C-based logging library, released on SourceForge under the LGPL license. For various Unix operating systems, the autoconf and automake files are provided. On Windows, a makefile is provided for use with MSVC. Developers may also choose to use their own make system to compile the source, depending on their build engineering requirements. An instance of the Log4c library may be configured via 3 methods. using environment variables, programmatically, or via XML configuration file. Last version is 1.2.4, released in 2013, and the project is no longer actively developed. Log4j, a port for JavaScript. Log4j is available under the license of Apache Software Foundation. One special feature of Log4j is the ability to log the events of the browser remotely on the server. Using Ajax, it is possible to send the logging events in several formats to the server to be evaluated there. The following appenders are implemented for Log4j: Ajax appender, console appender, file appender, sconsole appender, metatag appender, and Windows events appender. The following layout classes are provided: basic layout, HTML layout, SON layout, and XML layout. Last version is 1.1, released in 2008. Log4 JavaScript, another port for JavaScript. Log4 JavaScript is a JavaScript logging framework based on the Log4j. The latest version is 1.4.9, released in May 2014. JSNLOG, a port for JavaScript, automatically places messages from JavaScript loggers in server-side logs using a .NET server-side component that interfaces with Log4j, NLOG, Elm or common logging. This to provide an integrated log for client and server-side events. Request its correlate events related to a specific user. Configuration is via a server-side web config file. Supports exception logging including stack traces. In July 2014 the latest version was 2.7.1 and updates were made regularly. Apache Log4j, a port to the Microsoft.NET framework. The initial work was done by NeoWorks and was donated to the Apache Software Foundation in February 2004. The framework is similar to the original Log4j while taking advantage of new features in the .NET runtime. Provides nested diagnostic context and map diagnostic context. Last version is 1.2.13, released in 2013. Log4 Perl, a Perl port of the widely popular Log4j logging package. Last version is 1.44, released in May 2014. Apache Log4 PHP, a versatile logging framework for PHP. Originally a port of Apache Log4j to PHP, it has grown to include various PHP-specific features. PLSQL logging utility is an adaptation of Log4j in PLSQL. Log4db2 is a logging utility for DB2 for LUW that uses SQL instructions with SQL place code. Apache Log4j2. Apache Log4j2 is the successor of Log4j1 which was released as GA version in July 2014. The framework was rewritten from scratch and has been inspired by existing logging solutions, including Log4j1 and JUL. The main differences to Log4j1 are improved configuration syntax, support for XML and JSON configuration, improved filters, property support, markers, improved speed, modularity. Log4j2 supports a plugin system, improved reliability. Messages are not lost while reconfiguring the framework like in Log4j1 or Logback. Automatic reloading of configuration. One of the most recognized features of Log4j2 is the performance of the asynchronous loggers. Log4j2 makes use of the LMAX disruptor. The library reduces the need for kernel logging and increases the logging performance by the factor 12. For example, in the same environment Log4j2 can write more than 18 million messages per second, whereas other frameworks like Logback and Log4j1 just write